BBC News. Hello, I'm Jerry Smith. The President of the European Council, Donald Tusk, has warned the British Prime Minister Boris Johnson that what's at stake over Brexit is not winning what he described as a stupid blame game. It comes as British government sources suggested talks might soon break down. Earlier, Mr Johnson and his German counterpart Angela Merkel discussed Britain's latest proposals on breaking the deadlock. Adam Fleming is in Brussels.
A clearly furious Donald Tusk addressed Boris Johnson directly in his tweet, and he ended his message to the classics-loving Prime Minister with the Latin phrase Quo vadis, where are you going? Separately, European diplomats have questioned comments reportedly made by the German Chancellor Angela Merkel in a phone call to Number 10 this morning. One said, "It's not our language." Despite all of this, talks between the UK and EU negotiating teams are getting underway in Brussels this afternoon.
The Commissioner of the US National Basketball Association has said the NBA will continue to support employees' rights to freedom of expression after China reacted angrily to a tweet by a team general manager supporting Hong Kong's pro-democracy protesters. Adam Silver said the league would not compromise its values.
It's my hope that they will see those remarks in the context of now a 3-decade, if not longer, relationship. I'm sympathetic to our interests here and to our partners who are upset. And I don't think it's inconsistent on one hand to be sympathetic to them and at the same time stand by our principles.
China's state broadcaster says it will block the NBA basketball pre-season games in China. China has also reacted angrily to a US decision to blacklist 28 Chinese organizations over their alleged involvement in abuses against ethnic Uyghur Muslims in Xinjiang province, calling the allegations groundless. This year's Nobel Prize in Physics has been awarded to 3 scientists for contributing to understanding the evolution of the universe. The Canadian-American James Peebles was recognized for his discoveries in physical cosmology. The award was also shared by Switzerland's Michel Mayor and Didier Queloz. James Peebles said he had no idea of the success to come when he began working.
I was very uneasy about going into this subject because the experimental observational basis was so modest. But I could think of 1 or 2 things to do in cosmology, and each of them suggested something else, and I just kept going. A thing of this sort, I think, very seldom can be at all conceived or planned. These things just happen.
You're listening to World News from the BBC. The leader of the winning party in Sunday's parliamentary election in Kosovo says he won't negotiate with Kosovo's main ethnic Serb party. Albin Kurti's centre-left Self-Determination Party won a quarter of the vote. His stance could make forming a governing coalition more complicated than usual. Kosovo's constitution says at least 1 cabinet minister must be ethnic Serb. Russian officials have filed lawsuits against the leading opposition figure, Alexei Navalny, and a number of his allies, seeking compensation for the costs of policing recent unauthorised demonstrations. They're reported to be demanding more than $270,000. It relates to protests held in July and August amid anger that opposition and independent candidates have been banned from local elections. Students in universities across Bangladesh have protested for a second day after an undergraduate was beaten to death in Dhaka. The death of Abrar Fahad has triggered outrage across the country. With more details, here's our South Asia editor, Ambara Sanitirajan.
Students chanted slogans demanding justice over the murder of Abrar Fahad of the prestigious Bangladesh University of Engineering and Technology in Dhaka. His body was found inside the dormitory days after he posted comments on social media criticizing the government over a water-sharing deal with neighbouring India. 10 members of the student wing of the governing Awami League have been arrested in connection with the death. All of them are students of the same university. The government has promised stern action against those found guilty.
The UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres has warned that the organisation may run out of money by the end of the month due to a deficit of more than $200 million. In a letter to tens of thousands of staff, Mr Guterres said stopgap measures would be needed to pay salaries and entitlements. BBC News.